Alright guys, welcome back to Off Grid and Off Road. We're back in the workshop and I am going to do a critter gate for the greenhouse. It's been getting kind of hot. Darcy really wants to leave the west door open, but there's always a chance that we might have some sort of critter try to make his way in that way. So I'm going to build a little gate that is going to help to keep the door open and let a little more airflow in there. So I went and I pulled a couple of pieces of wood off of the scrap over there. I had this nice piece of 1x here and a 2x4 that's nice and straight, and I'm going to use those to go ahead and make my frame, and then I'm going to put critter fence on it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'll show you guys what's going on and how I'm putting it together as we move along. So I don't know if you guys can hear the vacuum running, but there it is over in the corner. And I'll tell you, that's probably one of the best things I ever did in the wood shop, was to have that vacuum. I got it set up to where I can use this little remote to turn it off. And that's really cool. If I want, I can clip it on me and carry it around, but I just like to leave it hanging up. So now I have a top and bottom piece. I just took that piece of 1x and ripped it down and cut it to length, and because it was 5.5 inches wide, I went ahead and I did a 2.5 inch top rail and then left the remnants for the bottom. So now I'm going to do some sides. Alright, now I got a couple of sides too, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to actually notch these down so that my top and bottom rails will fit into these, and then I can hang my hinges and stuff off of this heavier 2x4 material. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to lay them out and then we'll notch these out and then we can fit everything in and square it all up. And you see, I'm just using my material to set my depth on here. And then my width. Okay, I made a second cut just because I'm not sure how far up my blade is going to make it, and if I have to chisel out the last little bit, I'll chisel it out. Looks like I can make it. Change that up. I think I'm going to go the opposite way because it's not an equal depth on here, because these are actually thicker than 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, they're about 13/16. So there you go. Alright, now I got all my pieces. Just time to put them all together. Alright, I'm just going to square it up. Line up my corner. I always like to pre-drill because otherwise the wood splits. And I know these screws are just slightly long. They're going to come through the other side just a little bit, but I'm not going to worry. I'm just going to take my angle grinder with a sander on there and just clean them off real quick. Alright, here's our frame. Next, going to put some mesh on it. Alright, I got my mesh. This is just critter fence. And I built the frame 39 inches or 39.5 inches from top to bottom, taking into consideration the size of my material top and bottom, to give me about an inch overlap for the mesh. Now I'm using my air stapler to go ahead and put these down. I got some 1/4 inch crown, 3/4 inch long staples in here. I would imagine if you had a good regular stapler, you could probably do it with that as well. Alright, the mesh is on. Looks good. Gonna move on to doing some hinges and a latch. Oh yeah, got some coffee. Need coffee. I am just a coffee fiend. I'll drink coffee from morning until evening, until it's time for beer 30. But yeah, always love a good cup of coffee. So I had these swing door hinges. They're lightweight. It should be good enough to hold this. It's not that heavy, so. And I thought they would be an easy thing to use, so I'm going to try to kind of figure out how I'm going to use these and get these things measured and laid out. And then once we get some hinges and a latch on here, we'll go ahead and we'll go down and hang it. So I did on the bottom, I gave myself about a quarter of an inch, well, less than that, about 3/8 maybe, or 3/16 I mean, about 3/16, and for a space, and then I just made a cross where I want my pin to be, so I can line this pin up right on that mark, and then I'm just gonna pre-drill these and put some screws in there. This is just a nifty little tool. It's a centering tool, so it goes into your fixture and then the bit kind of comes out of the middle and it puts a drill right in the center of it. These screws I'm using are just some, they look like drywall screws, but they're deck screws. They're painted, so hopefully they last longer outdoors. And you see, there's one side. So these things have two different lengths. One is shorter, one is longer. So the longer one's going to go on the top side so that I can actually lift the gate up and the short one will come out. But when I set it in, the one with the extra length still has enough post on there so that it can ride on the hinge and not come out. So. So I didn't have a proper striker or catch for this latch, but I did have this out where I can screw this in and it'll work to catch on that. So, all right, we are gonna gather up all of our things here and go down to the greenhouse and see if we can get this up. And then if we get it up and everything's working, we can get some paint on it. So that's where the critter fence is going to go. It's going to go right there. That way, if Darcy wants to leave this door open to let more air in here, she won't have to worry about any kind of critters coming in. If a deer came in here, or if some deer came in here, they would devastate this thing. So. Yeah, there it is, hanging and swinging. I'm gonna have to change up my latch though. I'm gonna have to put my catch over here. I'll just spin this thing around. We'll do it the other way. All right, so there we go. So that's it. I got a critter gate up. Yeah, it just swings out of the way, and when you don't need it, like during the winter time and stuff, you just lift it up, take it off. Sure, that would be easier without my hands full. There we go. Just put a little stain on that, and it'll keep the critters out. So I brought it back up to the shop since I can just lift it off, because it's a lot nicer in here to do the painting, or the staining I should say, because I'm going to stain it the same as the greenhouse. And it's just much nicer in the shop than it is down there. It's hot in the greenhouse. All right, we got paint on it, or stain on it. I'll let this dry, and then we'll get it hung back on there. All right, there it is. It's all hanging up in place. I brought it down here so that it could finish drying, just because it's much warmer out here, although the sun's hiding behind the clouds right now. But there you go. Another little project on the homestead, and got a little critter gate on there so we can have this door open without anybody getting in. So another project. Thanks for watching.